Hello, cats and kittens, felines and felidae, humans and variant humans. Welcome to another episode of Brainy the RPG Cat. Tonight we're doing Cardcatter Brainy. So, we've just had the holiday season, and like lots of other people during the holiday season, I got a lot of free money in order to spend on whatever I wanted, so naturally I bought a whole bunch of Pokemon trading cards, and so we're going to be looking at that today. I have the 2022 Pokemon Trainers Toolkit. We are going to go through that. Let us see what kind of basic materials they are giving the kids these days, and we're also going to be looking at the Hisuian Dialga Palkia treasure box. Some people, when it comes to Pokemon, some people call the collector's tins, they call them the lunch box. Sometimes they call them the card box. Sometimes they call them the treasure box. Anyways, we're going to be looking at that as well tonight. So, I regret to say that, just the day after Christmas, I'm starting to feel under the weather again. I think I'm just attracting a head cold. And so I've taken some histamines. I've taken some, what do you call it? Yeah, some antihistamines. And I'm hoping that I'm going to get tonight's stream done without either A, passing out, or B, saying something inappropriate that I don't want to hear on the internet. So I'm sure I'll be okay with the medicine when it comes to in about a couple of days, but I know that it's some pretty heavy stuff, so forgive me if I ramble. Forgive me if my voice sounds different too because of the congestion. But anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in. Once again, this stream is brought to you by GreatMedia.Games. Clearly, we love TCGs over here at Brainy the RPG Cat, and we're partnered with Great Media Games in order to bring you inexpensive TCG single cards. Please visit Great Media Games and use the code 10Infinity at checkout for 10% off your online purchase. Devin says I sound fine. Okay, well, that's a bit of a relief. So, right now is that I'm probably at the peak of the methamphetamine, so I feel okay now, but pretty soon then the drowsy part's gonna kick in and we're gonna go whoa, what happened? Anyways, and this stream is also brought to you by our donation campaign supporting Extra Life, Children's Hospital Colorado. Please click the link below. Donate as much as your finances will allow. And we're going to be keeping our links on until December 31st. So, that out of the way, let's go ahead and let's get started at looking at tonight's edition of Cardcatter Brainy. So, I decided to bring in this set of cards just as an icebreaker. So, this is a set of Magic 2023 starter booster cards, and so Magic does this, and I wish a lot of other TCGs kind of had this exact same policy, where they release booster packs that contain some of the newest cards for a specific year, and so this is the beginning of next year's cards, and I opened 3 packs of them while I was at a Christmas party with my friends the other day. And I just kept them in order because I did want to show them off in stream. And so every one of them, they have a cover page card like this. This one says Insects. So, let me see. Let me separate out just first the insect set. Alright, so once again, this is Magic starter decks for 2023. And so there's an enormous amount of cards here, but it's really because the back 5 or 6 of them are mana cards. So Here we have Zask, the Skittering Swarmlord. You can play lands and cast insect spells from your graveyard whenever another insect you control dies. Put it on the bottom of its owner's library, then mill 2 cards. And so, what do insects naturally do? They swarm. And so, this was probably prepared to put a lot of insect tokens onto the field. This one is Nantuko Cultivator. There once was a cultivator from Nantuko. Insect Druid. Discard any number of land cards, put that many counters on Nantuko Cultivator, and draw that many cards. And those are +1/+1 counters. So the way that this works is that you can discard land cards and replace them with +1/+1 counters that get put on this card and buff this card. So that's pretty cool. Quarry Beetle. When it enters the battlefield, you can return a target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield, which is probably very useful to work out when it comes to this, because this throws away your land cards, and this brings them back from the graveyard. But only 1 per turn. So that's probably the risk that you're running here. Crawling Sensation, an enchantment. At the beginning of upkeep, you may mill 2 cards. Whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard anywhere for the first time each turn, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. So that's where we start to create the swarm. Rampaging Growth. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it into the battlefield, then shuffle. Until the end of the turn, the land becomes a 4/3 insect creature with reach and haste. And it is still considered to be a land card. Wow, that one is pretty amazing. So this one costs 4 mana to do, but despite it 4 mana, I would probably use that as the ace card of the insect deck. Caustic Caterpillar. Tap 2 lands in order to sacrifice Caustic Caterpillar and destroy a target artifact or enchantment. Iron Shell Beetle. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on the target creature. Okay. Kroll Warrior. If you tap 6 lands, Kroll Warrior gains +3 and +3 until the end of the turn. So it's a good card to try to keep alive. A Giant Ladybug has reach. When it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a basic card, reveal it, and then shuffle and put that card on top. So this is Giant Caterpillar again. I think that's a slightly different art card. Relentless Pursuit. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You can put a creature card and a land card from among them into your hand, and then put the rest into your graveyard. Hunter's Edge. Put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature you control, and then the creature deals damage equal to its power to the target creature you don't control. I'm actually pretty impressed by these new insect cards, because it's not necessarily the effect that I expected that they were going to do. A lot of them are centered around providing +1/+1 tokens and buffs to every single one of your cards. Thriving Grove is a land, enters a battlefield, taps. So every one of these booster packs contains 1 special land card, and that's what this is. As Thriving Grove enters the battlefield, choose a color other than green, and then tap to add 1 mana of the chosen color. So it really helps you with the second color of mana that's going to be in your deck. And then the rest of these are forest mana cards. So that was the first set. It was in green. All of it was in green. I don't know where I dropped the title card. The title card is around here somewhere. I know that. Okay, let me split up the other set. Okay, here we are. Okay, so this is another theme in the 2023 set. This is Fiery. Devin says I put it somewhere on the screen. It'll turn up. Not too concerned about that. And so these are all fire red mana cards, and they have a fiery effect. So let's see what we got. So this one has a Planeswalker in it. This is Chandra Flame's Fury. So if you play a lot of Magic, you've probably seen a lot of Chandra. She is probably the person who is most often put on posters and deck boxes and just you name it. Every single kind of Magic merchandise that exists outside of the cards. Okay, with a +1, she deals 2 damage with any target. With a -2, she deals 3 damage to a target creature and 2 damage to that creature's controller. And then a -8, Chandra deals up to 10 damage per target player and each creature that player controls. So, you know, it tends to get a little bit larger damage-wise as we go along. This is Chandra's Pyreling. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Pyreling gets +1/+0 and gains double strike until the end of the turn. So I just realized something. I'm going to need to take a moment in order to, put a light on, because the light is going to help the camera to focus and provide a bit of a clearer picture. Alright. So this is Chandra's Spitfire. It's an elemental. Flying. Whenever an opponent is dealt non-combat damage, Chandra's Spitfire gets +3 and +0 until the end of the turn. Spiteful Prankster is a devil creature. As long as it's your turn, Spiteful Prankster has first strike. Whenever another creature dies, Spiteful Prankster deals 1 damage to a target player or Planeswalker. And so this is a 3 mana card. And it has first strike, but it only has first strike at your turn, which, you know, slightly limits the ability of first strike. Coldborn Entity. Tap 3 mana to deal 1 damage to a target creature, token, player, or Planeswalker. So this would be a good card to have out early so you could burn out opponent's cards. Excuse me, bit of a hiccup there. That was a much louder hiccup. Okay, Chandra's Magmut. Tap it to deal 1 damage to a target player or Planeswalker. Bless you. Thank you. As I'm happy with the hiccups, because at least I'm not sneezing, not through all the medication. Alright, Goblin Researcher is a Goblin Wizard. When it enters the battlefield, exile the top card of your library. During any turn you attacked with Goblin Researcher, you can play that card. Wildfire Elemental. A creature is an elemental. Well, of course. And it's a 3/3. Requires 4 mana, and whenever the special effect is whenever an opponent is dealt non-combat damage, creatures you control get +1 and +0 until the end of the turn. Okay, Pillar of Flame deals 2 damage to any target. If a creature dealt damage this way would die, then exile it instead. Chandra's Pyro Helix deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 topics. 1 or 2 targets, sorry about that. So, I mean, it's quite clear that this booster pack is full of cards that work really well with the Chandra Planeswalker card. The Thrill of Possibility. You know, this one has some really interesting art. It's almost like anime style art. Maybe it's not perfectly good. It's not perfect on the capture. But, you know, it's a lot more striking than some of the, it certainly stands out. Let me put it that way. It certainly stands out compared to a lot of the other cards. That's just fake Grand Order art. Yeah, did I accidentally shuffle my Magic deck with Vanguard or Force of Will again? Okay. As an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card and then draw 2 cards. Fiery Intervention. Deals 5 damage to a target creature and then destroys it. Thriving Bluff. This is a special land card. It enters the battlefield tapped. As it enters the battlefield, choose a color other than red. So, you know, that seems to be a running theme in this set, is that every single one of these mana cards replenishes a mana other than the main color. And so, once again, here are all the red mana that came with that booster pack. Alright. And so, finally, without further ado, this is the third booster pack, and this booster pack is called the Gross Booster Pack. And so this is a black mana pack. First we have Massacre Worm, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, and when it enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. Who needs Planewalkers when you can do that to your opponent? Skull Slither Worm is another worm. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card for each opponent who can't. You can put 2 +1/+1 counters on Skull Slither Worm. Alright. Plague Crafter, Human Shaman, 3 mana. When it enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker, and then each player who can't discards a card. I wasn't holding things in the center. Sorry about that. Alright. Leech-Ridden Swamp. Tap to add dark mana. It enters the battlefield tapped, and then tap the mana to make each opponent lose 1 life. Activate only if you control 2 or more black permanents. Alright. Yargol, Glutton of Orborg. That's a name. Frog Spirit, legendary creature. When it doesn't have a special effect. This is just a flavor text. When Blazonlock's Lieutenant Yarkul grew too ambitious, the Demon Lord transformed him into a maggot. The frog that ate the maggot grew and grew until a ravenous spirit burst from its body. Alright. Infernal Idol. 3 mana. Tap it to add a black mana. Tap 4 in order to sacrifice Infernal Idol. You get to draw 2 cards and then lose 2 life. Blightkeeper, the Bat Imp with flying. Sacrifice Blightkeeper, target opponent loses 4 life and you gain 4 life. Okay, Durable Coilbug. An insect, tap 5 mana in order to return Durable Coilbug from your graveyard into your hand. This is a good extra card to have if you need to bring a card back to a graveyard in order to use a populous effect. Are big bugs just in this card cycle? Well, I'm holding the first card that isn't a bug. This is Black Cat. 2 mana. Is a zombie cat. When Black Cat dies, target opponent discards a card at random. Devouring Swarm, insects with flying. Sacrifice a creature, Devouring Swarm gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So, from what I can reckon is that if I wanted to build a card with just these boosters that I showed you, it's very likely that I would combine the black and the green. And then there are cards that can benefit from having additional insect cards. So, Eaten Alive, a sorcery, as an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature or pay 4 mana, and then exile the target creature or the planeswalker. So that's kind of a shield card. If it's targeted, then you can deflect the target onto one of your opponent's monsters. A Grotesque Mutation, the target creature gains +3/+1 and lifelink until the end of the turn. Strangling Spores, target creature gets -3 and -3 until the end of the turn. Thriving Moor, this is a special land card. Enters tapped. As it enters the battlefield, choose a color other than black. So it operates like all the other special land cards. and then the rest of these are swamps. And so there's your added value for you, you know. Just something that I can eat up the first 30 minutes of the stream talking about. Get out of my swamp. Get out of my swamp. Those were pretty nifty. Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I was making jokes about Shrek while I was talking with Mary Mermaid on Twitter today. So it's funny that we bring that up. So here's the first box of Pokemon that we're going to look at. This one is called the Trainer's Toolkit. I purchased it for roughly about $20 from GameStop. And so I have had a GameStop card, and so I decided to use a significant amount of it on trading cards. And so this says it has 150 cards, 4 booster packs, 65 card sleeves, a guidebook, 6 damage dice, and then 2 condition markers. So this is a really great gift pack. Did you end up grabbing any of those Switch games? No, I decided not to. I just reasoned that, you know, there's just an enormous amount of games on my Switch as it is. And I was looking for suggestions because, you know, even if I get decent suggestions, they're more than likely going to be for Nintendo eShop, so I'm going to get to them. I'll get to them eventually. And that's just kind of the nasty habit that I've developed with my Switch, is that I mostly download indie titles on it. But hey, you get to benefit from that, because anytime I pick out like a special strategy game, then, you know, you guys are going to get to see it in one of my one-offs. So, you know, top of my game right now. I'm firing at all cylinders. So I really like the packaging for this one, because there's a Pokeball here, and then as you can see, you can slide off the cover, and then you can see the Pokeball on the inside of the box. There's another Pokemon on the other side. I believe this is Ilamis. I'm not entirely sure about that. I'm pretty sure they might be somewhere in this set, you know, but well, we'll figure out what their name is, you know. I'm growing old, and I am beginning to lose the eternal game of who's that Pokemon. Alright, so let me take the cover off. And so, you know, there's a nice patterning on the box. You can see every energy type on the inside of that. All right, so having mentioned all of the accessories, they're all on this corner of the board. This one is these are health counters, and this is a 6-sided die. And so the health counters are clear, and they have purple text on them. And they go all the way up to, I believe, 200 when you're doing energy counting damage using dice. Okay, these are the set of 65 card sleeves, enough for one deck and some change, which is, you know, I personally appreciate when they just give you 5 extra whenever you buy card sleeves. This is a V-Star token. I'm not entirely sure how V-Star tokens work in the game yet. Ordinarily, they just provide, you know, dummy cards in booster packs that have V-Star written on them in order to use them as an effect, but this is just a plastic token that you'd be able to use instead of those cards. Yeah, they're nice extras. I particularly like Pokemon for the extras, because, you know, the extras in Pokemon are just as collectible as the main games. So there are 4 booster packs. One of them is in Sword and Shield Astral Radiance. Oh, well, 2 of them are. That's also a Sword and Shield Astral Radiance. So 2 Sword and Shield Astral Radiance booster packs, and 1 Brilliant Stars, and 1 Evolving Skies. So I believe that all of those are going to be tournament legal, but, you know, we still need to hear about 2023, so here we go. Who knows? So we have 2 tokens. One of them is for burn, and the other one is for poison. Burn and poison are the only 2 status effects that you need to indicate using tokens. If you get something like paralyzed or frozen or things like that, then you simply tap your card sideways. And then this is the Trainer's Toolkit, instruction manual, deck building guide, etc., etc. And so here we have two sets of standardized cards. So since this is a Trainer's Toolkit, this has a significant amount of cards that you're supposed to use in order to build a fundamental deck. This box also came with a code card for Pokemon TCG Live. I already redeemed it, and everything on that card was a trainer card. So just it added to the total amount of trainer cards that I have in the video game. So this is the big hunk pack. And so I'm assuming that this pack is entirely built out of energy cards and trainer cards and special energy cards. And that's what the entirety of this pack is going to be made out of. Alright. You're a mere shell of your former self. Just go ahead and cast that aside for a second. Okay, so first thing, we're going to go for the big hunk. This will probably be the easiest thing to describe just for the sheer number of utility cards that it has. So a total of 150 cards plus the 4 booster packs. Are all the cards in these sets predetermined? No, just the ones from these two stacks. Because this is supposed to be a beginner's toolkit, so they provide enough cards in order for you to begin playing a basic game. And then they just give you the 3 boosters so that you can have variety. And so just as I suspected, you know, red energy, yellow energy, green energy, black energy, blue energy, silver energy, purple energy, red, brown, yellow. So yeah, just virtually all of this is going to be energy cards. So as I'm searching through this to see if there are normal energy cards. If all of these are normal energy cards all the way through the end, because they might put the special energy cards in that, or they actually might save it for this pack. So yeah, from what I can see, all the way to the back, these are normal energy cards. There's a pattern assortment of regular energy cards. That is correct. So I'm prepared to make a deck of any color thanks to those. Alright. Put it all the way over here. So this is a deck that, you know, contains all of the toolkit cards. So open that up. Okay. So this Pokemon, the Pokemon on the box, and the Pokemon that is the special card in this set is Lumineon. Basic card, 170 HP. Special ability, Luminous Sign. When you pay that Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you can search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, and then put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. And then attack is Aqua Return 120, shuffle this Pokemon, and I'll attach cards into your deck. Okay, and I actually get 2 of them. Same card art. Both of them are foil cards. Okay, trainer cards. Air Balloon, Air Balloon. So you're familiar with a lot of these because from when I played Pokemon TCG Live. These are probably as basic as trainer cards are going to get. Rare Candies. 2 of them. Rescue Carriers, 2 of them. Power Tablets, 2 of them. And so these are special energy cards. This is Fusion Strike Energy. This is Cross Switcher. This is Cross Seaver. This is Adventurer's Discovery. Search your deck for up to 3 V Pokemon. reveal them, and then put them in your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So, out of all the cards that I injected into live, these were probably the only cards that I didn't own at the moment. A collapsed stadium. Each player can't have more than 4 bench Pokemon. If a player has 5 or more, they discard bench Pokemon until they have 4 on the bench. So it basically just limits the overall bench strategy. Choice Belt. The attacks this Pokemon this card is attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon V before applying weakness and resistance. Then we have double turbo energies. We have Ultra Balls. We have Tool Jammers. We have Switch cards. We have Ray Hand cards. Once again, I played these a lot when we were playing TCG Live. We have Quick Balls. We have Professor's Research. And then we have a Path to the Peak. Pokemon with a rule box in play, and your opponents have normal abilities. Pokemon V, Pokemon GX, etc. have rule boxes. So basically, this is a good stadium card to have, because you recall all the issues I had when playing Pokemon Live, that other characters' abilities tended to get in the way of my playing thrilled. Well, if I had these field cards, I could put them on the field, and then ability cards don't mean anything anymore. So 2 Marnies, 2 Magma Basins. Let's see. This is another stadium card. Once during each player's turn, that player can attach a energy card from the discard pile to one of their bench Pokemon. If a player attached the energy to a Pokemon this way, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Okay, 2 Level Balls, 2 Glorias. I had Glorias, but I didn't use them. Let's see. Search your deck for 3 basic Pokemon that don't have a rule box, and then put them onto your bench. Alright, and then Fog Crystals. Let's use search your deck for a energy card. Uh-oh. Excuse me. Feels like a sneeze is coming. And so when you feel like a sneeze is coming, and then, the methamphetamines start to stamp it down as soon as you feel it. It's a strange feeling. Search your deck for a Psychic Energy card or a basic Psychic Pokemon. Reveal it, and then put it in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So, Evolution Incense. 2 of them. 2 Escape Ropes. That's the worst feeling. I hate an unresolved sneeze. It's like a book you can't wait to get to the end to. Capture Energies, and 2 Boss's Orders. So, as promised, this is effectively what I need in order to build a deck, or multiple decks, with the proper amount of trainer cards and energy cards in them. So I'm going to take all of those and I'm going to put them aside over here. And so, for $20, which is actually, pretty much just the same amount that you would spend if you were buying a treasure box. You can have all of these cards, and all of these cards, while they're not flashy, they are utility cards that you need in order to play the game. I'm probably not going to need to buy energy for a very long time. Okay, once again, the 2 Elements V cards. Luminion. I need to get that part right. And so let's look at the 4 boosters that came with this. Okay, opening the first one. We'll do Evolving Skies, Brilliant Stars, and then the 2 Astral Radiances. Alright, booster time, fingers crossed. Okay, so first thing I want to do is take this off screen and then take out the code card, because I'm going to redeem those cards for live, and I don't want to show them on the camera because someone might beat me to the punch. Okay, Let Leo 10 does Life Coal for 10 damage. Chinsho does electric ball for 10 damage. Uh, that's a thing that you can do? Yeah, that's nice, yeah. So that's one thing I like about Pokemon over some other TCGs is that they're really consistent when it comes to supporting the game. You know, people have been a bit angry because they feel like Pokemon Live has fewer features than the previous Pokemon TCG game that they released for PC. But I'm sure it's just too young, and then the upgrades are coming, you know, and they're hoping in order to patch it with the firmware, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to stay with it for a while. But what the Pokemon TCG does, which I believe is personally very good, is that it comes with a code card inside of every pack. When you redeem that code card, you get a different booster pack that has different cards in it. And so that allows you to get into a situation where if you actually buy an older pack and it has a code in it, you can still redeem the code, and they will give you a more recent pack for it. You know, they're more or less the ones just kind of governing the rules when it comes to that. But it's great that every single time that you get a card, then you're able to get a bonus for the online game. That's what I like about it. Okay, so DNO is 60, and so they're the dragon type. And so dragon types are, you know, decidedly very rare, just like they are in the main game. And so this one has Call for Family, search your deck for a basic Pokemon, and then Bite for 30. Pumpkaboo, you probably recognize this card because it's the exact same card that kept coming up in live. Ability, Pumpkin Pit, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to your bench during your turn, you may discard a stadium in your play. So this card is a little bit nasty because even if somebody tries to pull the stadium card and prevents you from using abilities, well, you can also punk this down and then immediately use it in order to destroy that other card. So, okay. Carvinha, which has Ram and Razor Fin. Okay, we got a foil trainer card. This is Snowleaf Badge. If Pokemon V, this card is attached to, has Leafeon or Glaceon in the name, it has no retreat cost and no weakness. So this is probably especially helpful when it comes to running a Leafeon or a Glaceon. So we got a VMAX card, so that's really impressive. So I don't think I can hold this in an angle where it's going to look good in the feed, but this is Trevenant, and so Trevenant evolves from, let's see, what card is that? That is Trevenant V. So I still need to have a Trevenant V in order to operate this one. So yeah, this is a double-lined lenticular foil card, and yeah, it's very, very shiny. It's quite a spectacle. Okay, so Trevenant has Missing in a Forest. This attack does 40 damage for each supporter, and in your opponent's discard pile. So if your opponent has thrown away a lot of supporter cards, trainer cards, then they will take additional damage for it. And then Max Tree, which is 180 damage and requires 2 green and a normal mana. So that's a really good one for a grass type deck. Okay, we got more Steel Energy. Floret, who has Fairy Wind that does 20 damage, double spin for 50 damage times 2 heads on 2 coins. Let's see. This one is Boost Shaker. Search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and then put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. You can use this card during your first turn or on a Pokemon that was put into play this turn, and then your turn ends. Alright. And finally, Shelgon. Shelgon has Hard Roll, does 50 damage. Flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. So if you manage to flip a heads, then your opponent has no attack during their next turn. And so they're a dragon type too. The dragon deck is really interesting to me. I think I might, if I want to build a new deck, I'm going to try to build a dragon deck. So I mean, so also a major difference between the dragon deck and the fairy deck, which unfortunately was a failure, is that people needed to collect fairy damage in order to run the fairy deck, which is something that didn't sit well with people who have been playing Pokemon for a long time. But the dragon deck is still viable because it doesn't have its own energy. Instead of having its own energy, it has it uses different colors of other Pokemon's energy. Okay, so in this one we have Spiritomb. Spiritomb has Ticking Terror until the end of your next turn. The defending Pokemon's weakness is now Dark. The amount of weakness doesn't change. And then Curse Drop, you put 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. So, this is a Pokemon without an attack, but it's still good when you're leading because it provides you with specific abilities that you'll be able to use until you can withdraw the Pokemon and then put a replacement up. Axew has an Ultra Evolution. Flip a coin. If it's heads, search your deck for a Haxorus and then put it on Askew to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. So effectively, this card has instant evolution on it, and so that's pretty useful. And that would be useful if you're trying to center your deck around dragons. Magmar, level 90, has Low Kick for 20 and Fiery Punch for 70. Impidimp. I like Impidimp, and I like the whole evolutionary line of Impidimp. They were introduced in Sword and Shield. They're not in the latest game, but I hope that I'm gonna see them again sometime because I think they're some of my favorite Pokemon. This one is a Dark type. You can call for family, and then you can bite. They're little Dragon Quest looking goblins. Yeah, precisely, and that's the reason that I like them. Riolu has Low Kick for 50. And so this is a full art Eevee card. So this is a very nice card. V Search. Search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon V. Recall them. And then put them into your hand and then shuffle your deck. That's a very nice looking card. Is that effectively, a lot of the background is a bit more is a bit more dipped in the foil in that one, and then the foreground Pokemon are and the woman that's in the image is not foil, and then it stands out from the rest of the card. Dusknoir. This is another foil card. It's an evolution of Dusclops. It has the ability Special Transfer. As often as you like during your turn, you can move a special energy from one of your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. And then it does the attack Devour Soul for 120 energy. Okay. Another green energy. Another Acerola. This is another trainer card, Acerola's Premonition. Your opponent reveals their hand, and then you draw a card for each trainer card that you find in your opponent's hand. Okay. Pot Helmet. If the Pokemon this card is attached to doesn't have a rule box, it takes 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So, I guess taking away the rule box is a way for normal Pokemon to potentially get back against Pokemon Veer and, some of the other stronger variety cards in the deck. And this is Executor. It has Mega Drain for 70, and then you get to heal 30 damage, or you can do Seed Bomb for 130. All right. So those were the 2 cards from different sets, and so now we have the 2 Astral Radiance cards to open. Okay, here's Scyther, 80 HP, does quick blow for 30, plus a 30 more damage if you get heads. Eevee has the ability Resident Evolution once during your turn. You can play a Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your other Eevees. Then you can search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and then put it onto this Pokemon to evolve it. So the great majority of Eevee cards are just kind of fixated on putting an evolution onto the Eevee card. Heracross is 110, has Horn Attack for 40, and Overhead Throw for 120. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your bench Pokemon. Okay, Teddiursa gathers food, flip a coin. If it's heads, then put an item card from your discard pile into your hand. And then dig claws for 20. Mantine, Born Ashore, pick a basic Pokemon from either player's discard pile and then put it onto the bench. And then Aqua Edge for 100. So this is a reverse foil. This is Hisuian Arcanine. Hisuian Pokemon are the ones that come from the very recent game Pokemon Legends Arceus. And so these are the regional variants from those games. And so this one has Boulder Crush for 50 and then Scorching Horn for 80. If this Pokemon has any energy searched, this attack does A more damage and your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. So that's a very nice holo. I said it. They are not holo cards. They are foil cards. It's on the feed for life now. Okay. This is the Hisuian region version of Braviary. Psywave does 30 damage for each energy attack to your opponent's active Pokemon. And then Slashing Strike does 120 damage during your next turn. The Pokemon can't use Standing Strike. Alright, so Fighting Energy, Grant. During the turn, your fighting Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. During your turn, if Grant is in your discard pile, you can discard 2 cards except any Grant from your hand. If you do, put this Grant into your hand. So not only do you get to use this card, but you get to reuse this card in order to add 30 points to every one of your attacks. So that one's pretty nasty. It definitely goes into a very specific deck. Switch cart. Switch your basic Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. If you do, heal 30 damage from the Pokemon you moved onto your bench. And then Bisharp, 120. Vengeful Cut. This attack does 30 more damage for each damage counter on one of your benched Pawniard. And then it does Slicing Blade for 90. Alright, so this is the last pack for Starter Set 2022. After this, we're going to open up the box. We're going to have a few more... we're going to see a few more standard Pokemon cards that were put into the pack, and then we're going to probably open up, I believe it's going to be 3 more booster packs. So... So, I do like the Trainers pack. I mean, it's greatly... it's a lot, I think, in my personal opinion, it's a lot better than, the Battle Academy board games that they put out a couple of years ago, because those only had basic cards and then just a lot of board game materials that you're more than likely aren't going to lug with you to the comic book store. So... here is Stantler, 100 HP. Does Guard Press for 30. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. Yanma, 60, has a Speed Dive that's worth 20. Hoot Hoot is Dan Sentry, special ability. Basic energy attached to bench Pokemon can't be discarded by an effect of your Pokemon's item or supporter card. So that's really useful because, you know, sometimes there are decks that have the ability to play with your deck's energy. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. I forgot to take the code card off of that one. Okay. And the other attack was flat for 20. Cardcatter, HP 60, does tip over for 10, plus additional 30 damage if it's on a heads. Pseudo Udo has the ability Vamoose. If this card has any damage counters on it, it has no retreat cost or double edge that does 90. Bastiodon, this one's a reverse foil, and it does 160 HP. Ability Primal Fortress, your Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V. So this is another card that works against the V deck. Registeel, 130 HP. Has Regigate, which searches your deck for a basic Pokemon. Or Heavy Slam that does 220. This attack does 50 less damage for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon retreat cost. And so the retreat cost is 3. So the Heavy Slam actually begins at something like 220 minus 53 times, that's 150. That leaves you with 120 damage, so you would start out with 120 damage during your attack. But if you play trainer cards on this that allow you to lower the Pokemon's retreat cost, then it becomes less. Then it becomes stronger. So it is a big boy. Yeah, it is definitely one of the tankier cards that I've seen in recent outputs. So here's basic electric energy. Jubilife Village. Once during your turn, that player can shuffle their hand into their deck and then draw 5 cards. If they do, then their turn ends. Knocked Owl. This is the evolution of Hoot Hoot. 100 HP, Silent Wing. Your opponent will reveal their hand. Or Air Slash. You can discard an energy from the Pokemon. And Zizu, which is one of the characters from Legends Arceus. You can draw cards until you have one more card in your hand than your opponent. So yeah, we've seen some pretty interesting pulls. I mean, you know, other than the Luminian card, the V cards, which were, you know, supposed to be default in a deck. You know, we got that's just a trainer card. I'd say, yo, well, look, it's a 50. What's that doing in there? Crunch, crunch, crunch. Toss. Hisuian Arcanine Reverse Foil. Trevenant VMAX, which is probably going to be one of my most coveted cards for a while. And then the Foil Dusknoir, the Full Art Eevee. People are going to be chomping at the bit for that one, too. And so I put Shield Guard in here too. Another Boost Shake and Floret. Alright, and then Snowleaf Badge, Foil Trainer card, Caravana, Pumpkaboo, Dino, and so the rest of these are common. Alright. So this next set is going to be a lot briefer. Not a lot I can do about that. And it costs about the same. This costs about $20. I mean, so first of all, you know, getting a metal tin for the cost of roughly about $25 is pretty good in my opinion. But, you know, this is definitely going to have fewer cards than the trainers, or than the starter deck. Because they're not putting all of the basic cards in this. So this is going to be based a lot on Pokemon Legends Arceus again, because this is going to be a Diamond and Pearl set for the Hisuian region, and you can see both of the special versions of Dialga and Palkia on the outside of the tin. It's always nice to have a tin, and so when I started playing Pokemon, they used to have like 7-sided polygonal tins that were a little shorter, and after you open the cards, there would barely be room for one deck. And so, for a little bit more money, you can get, more bang for your buck is a whole lunchbox that you can probably put at least 3 decks into. So, opening up the lunchbox. Oop, I got it upside down. So, immediately the first thing that you see are the 3 special cards that are going to come with this. And so, something that I probably should have showed you is that on the back side of this lunchbox are those 3 cards. These are Hisuian versions of Sneasel, Growlithe, and Voltorb. And so, yeah, they're very cute. And that's the back end of this. And so those are the 3 cards that they guarantee you in this set. And so here they are. So they have their very own blister pack. And so Voltorb is 50. So I'm gonna have to take them out of the blister pack to read them, which is something I didn't necessarily want to do, but that's fine. We can do with that. Okay, so this right here is a coin for coin tosses. It has art of Dialga on it, and these are this is a lot bigger than the plastic Pokemon cards that came with other starter sets. If you do buy just a starter set of 60 cards, you'll still get the smaller one. But for the special edition sets, they give you this great big hunk of a plastic coin. The opposite end is blue. And the standard coins usually have an opposite end. In black, it has a Pokeball and Pokemon embossed on the back side of it. And so I'm going to take these 3 cards very carefully out of the blister pack. Alright. Okay, so the Hisuian Sneasel is 70 HP. It does Scratch for 10 and Claw Slash for 30, so it's a pretty basic card. The Hisuian Voltorb is a hollow background card once again. Cheerful Charge. You can use this attack only if you go second and only during your first turn. Choose 2 of your best Pokemon for each of those Pokemon. Search your deck for a basic energy card and then attach it to that Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. And then it does Ram for 10. And the Hisuian Growlithe, it has a defensive posture. Flip a coin. It doesn't require any energy. Flip a coin if it's heads. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. So you once again, we saw that same effect on one of the steel types when we pulled them from the booster packs. And then it does Bite for 30. Alright, so let me pick up the lunchbox again. I put it over here. Okay, so these are the packs that we're going to be opening. I think it's 2 Silver Tempest, Sword and Shield. Oh, look, there's another code card. I'm going to put that away. And 2 Astral Radiance. Both also Sword and Shield. And 1 Fusion Strike. So altogether this pack had 5 boosters, while the starter pack had 4. I mean, so you got 1 less booster pack. But it's a bit more significant because this is the advanced pack, the other one was a basic pack. Had a bunch of cards that are just necessary in order to play the game. Take away that blister. Okay, so these lunch boxes or treasure boxes, whichever you prefer, they always come with accessories. More than likely than not, you're going to get a notepad. And this one is a little bit better because this isn't just a basic notepad. I have the one that I got from the 25th anniversary set on my desk right now. And I have to tear a page off of that because I've actually been writing notes on it. So this is the one I got from the 25th anniversary pack. And as you can see, it's a pretty standard notepad. It has tearable pages. It has pages that you can tear. They're not terrible pages. They're good-looking pages. They're good-looking pages that you can tear off of the notepad. This one is a little bit nicer than that because it actually is a stapled book. You can open it up. It has very basic stationery on the inside. So, and just a picture of Dialga and Palkia on the front, and then the Pokemon logo on the back. And so, the other thing that these boxes always come up with is sticker sets. So the sticker sets are based directly on the art that is on the front of the box. So here's 2 sets of Dialga and Palkia stickers. Here's the Hisuian Pokemon again. And then I got 2 cards with that, so then 6 of those stickers. And then the last one is another Dialga and Palkia, so a total of 8 of those. And 6 of the Hisuian Pokemon. The last thing they always give you is they give you an itty bitty deck album. So it's more than likely I'm going to stuff one of these cards in one of my standard albums, but you know, it's always nice to have these. Sometimes I keep them in the plastic and then I give them back to the comic book store. Sometimes they offer me store credit for them. Sometimes they don't. But, you know, it's nice that they have a little, you know, just Pokemon album in every single one of these boxes. And so this one probably holds about 10 cards. Dialga and Palkia on the front. And then the Hisuian trio on the back. All right. Put that aside. And so we're going to open our 5 booster packs now. We'll start with Fusion Strike. Okay, once again, pulling the quote card out of the back. I'm getting a lot of them. You know, the next time I play Pokemon Live, I'm going to be much more well-armed than my first outing. And that's not to say that my first time was bad, because I did win a couple of consecutive matches in it. Totodile, HP 70, does Range Splash for 20. Phantup, HP 60, does Tackle for 10 and Seed Bomb for 20. Snorlax, 160 HP, does Heavy Impact for 80. Snom, HP 40, find ice. Search your Pokemon deck for up to 2 water energy cards, reveal them, and then put them into your hand and then shuffle your deck. Quillfish, HP 80, collect allows you to draw a card. Spike Sting does 30 damage. Okay. We have another reverse Holo Trainer card. This one is Spongy Gloves. The attacks of the Pokemon that this card is attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Water-type Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. That's pretty nasty. That's nasty to have in a Water deck. Alright. I'll put that one in with the Holos. Toxic Croak. HP 110. Severe Poison. Your opponent's active Pokemon are now poisoned during Pokemon Checkup. Put 4 damage counters on that Pokemon instead of 1. So it's just a much more faster acting poison effect. And then Magnum Punch for 90. Another green energy card. Delcatty, HP 100. Willful Busybody. Your opponent reveals their hand. Choose a card you find there and then put it on the bottom of the deck. And then double slap for 50. Times 50 damage after you flip 2 coins. Darkrai, 110, does Dark Cutter for 90. And Crocodile, HP 100, does Wave Splash for 30, and then Surf for 60. Alright. This is Astral Radiance. Okay. Puccina, HP of 60, does Gnaw, and then Slight Intrusion for 30 plus 10 damage to itself. Swinub, HP 60, does Stampede for 20, and then Icy Wind for 40. Hisuian Quillfish does Ram for 10, and then Rolling Tackle for 30. Pet Lily, Spin Turn, well, HP is 50, Spin Turn does 10 damage plus it allows you to switch your Pokemon with a bench Pokemon. Nickit is a HP 60 and then does a rear kick for 10. Regirock, this is a reverse foil card. Regigate, search your Pokemon for a basic Pokemon and then put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. And then Giga Impact does 140 damage. During your next turn, the Pokemon can attack. So yeah, that's a really nice one. That's 130 HP. So we've gotten our second Pokemon V. This one is Luxray. 210 HP. Fang Snipe does 30 damage. Your opponent reveals that hand. Discard a trainer card that you find. And then Radiating Pulse for 120 damage. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon, then your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So this is a special, let me just also mention, this is an especially nice card because in addition to the foil, it also has a glossy finish on the front. So, you know, even the Pokemon art, even though it is not as foil as the background, it is still very, very smooth and shiny looking. Alright, so, Purple Energy. Quilava, 90. Does Tackle for 20 and Flare for 40. Golduck, HP 100. Aqua Edge is 50 and Entangle Dive allows you to discard each player's active Pokemon and all attached cards. You can choose a new active Pokemon first. And then, super effective Glasses. When applying weakness or damage to the attacks of the Pokemon this card attached to is done to your opponent's active Pokemon, you can apply it as ×3. I need to take a time to reread that and then figure out exactly how the damage conditions work. But if you can do ×3 damage automatically, that's a pretty strong attack. Okay, this is the next pack. This one is Astral Radiance again. Alright. Scyther, HP 90, does Blinding Scythe for 20. Stantler does Guard Press for 30, has HP of 100. Guard Press, during your opponent's next turn, the Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks after applying weakness and resistance. We got another Yanma. We got another Hoot Hoot. And I do believe that these are the same Yanmas and Hoot Hoots that were in the trainer pack as well. Yeah, same Kricketot. This is a Swinub. We saw Swinub before, but this one is actually a foil. It's a reverse foil card. Hisuian Overquill, 30 press, has 100. Well, let's see, has 130 damage. And this is an evolution of Quillfish, so we've pulled about 2 Quillfish so far. So it might be worth our time in order to try to make that dark deck. Dirty Press is 30 plus if you have at least 3 energy in play. This attack does 90 more damage. So if you put 3 damage on this, then it will end up doing 90. And then the Pierce attack, which is worth 70. Alright. Red Energy. Okay, Shieldon, 100 HP, Hard Headbutt, flip a coin. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of damage done to this Pokemon. And then Confront for 100. Hisuian Heavy Ball. Look at your face down prize cards. You can reveal a basic Pokemon you find there, put into your hand, and then put this Heavy Ball in place as a face-down prize card. Now, I did see some of these when we played live. I didn't think it was a good enough effect in order to put in any of my decks. And then we have Per Ugly, 110. Body Slam, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's Pokemon is now paralyzed. And then Slashing Claw for 100. Alright. So 2 more packs to go. This is the Silver Tempest. Okay. I almost did what I've been trying to avoid. I took out the code card and then I almost put it back on the camera. Alright. Ralts, HP of 60, memory skip 10, and choose one of your Pokemon's active Pokemon's attack, and during your opponent's next turn, that Pokemon can't use the attack. Krogunk, HP 80, Corkscrew Punch is 30. Solosis, HP is 40, Ram does 20 damage. Zubat, HP is 40, Bite does 10. There's a lot of very basic Pokemon with no special abilities in this one. LGM, that's what it is, LGM. 60, does Headbutt for 20. Stunfisk, this one's a reverse foil. HP of 110. Mudshot does 30, and then Mystery Bolt. You can use this attack only if you have no supporter cards in your discard pile. This attack does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Do not apply weakness and resistance for bench Pokemon. Okay, put that in with the hollows. And then Verizon, HP 110, 4 is 1. And if Cobalion, Terrascion, and Keldeo are on your bench, this attack does 70 more damage. Or Leaf Drain for 50. And so, I believe, yeah, this card is based on Sword and Shield. I assume Verizon, Cobalion, Terrakion, and Keldeo are part of a set of legendary Pokemon in that game. Okay, another Steel Energy. Morpeko. This one is an HP 60. Uses Peko Blaster. You can use this attack only if one of your Deden used the Diddy Short during their last turn. This attack does 60 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. So you basically have to run a Morpeko theme deck in order to use that one. Braixen, HP 90, Combustion is 30, and then Flare Parade is 60 times 60 damage for each Serena card in your discard pile. I haven't seen the Serena card. Maybe they are the same. They are also in Silver Tempest. I don't really know. Deden, HP 60, Tail Smack is 10, and then Diddy Short. You can use this attack only if one Pokemon, if one of your Togedemaru used Togedeath during your first turn. So I think you only have the ability to use that attack if you've already evolved a Deden, and then swap this card to your bench. I think that's how that works. Alright. So, I hold in my hand the final booster pack. We're going to open this, and, as I said, I'm probably going to need to take just a little bit of additional time to rest. So we're probably going to be cutting this at 1 hour instead of 2. These are holiday streams. What are you going to do? I'm already dedicated to coming back tomorrow for playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And those streams tend to go on for between 3 to 4 hours. So I assume that's more than likely going to make up for it. No worries, dude. Take good care of yourself. Alright. So, whoops. Yeah, last code card. Alright. Durant. So we saw some of the cards from this set in Pokemon Live. Durant does energy digging. Search your deck for 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and then put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck, and then bite for 50. Ralts, HP 60, memory skip. Choose one of your opponent's active oh yeah, we've already seen that one. Fletchling does peck, 40 HP, does peck for 10. Dratini, HP 70, does slam for 30, flip 2 coins, and then its attack does 30 coins for each heads. Alright. Clink, 50 HP, does call sign. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and then put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Wow, this is a very nice card. This is a full foil Radiant Alakazam card. So, a little bit of trivia when it comes to Alakazam is that at one point, Kadabra and Alakazam were taken out of the Pokemon TCG game because his spoon bending technique was originally a magic trick that was performed by a very specific person, and that specific person threatened to sue. Afterwards, he received tons of letters from Pokemon fans that were asking him, please, 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 drop the suit, allow Kadabra and Alakazam to come into the TCG game again. And so so, you know, eventually he relented and they started to print Kadabra and Alakazam cards again. A certain Furry Smeller. Furry Smeller. I don't know what you mean by that, Devin. So, you know, so this it almost looks like it has classic card art on it. But it's also the fact that the foil that is on Alakazam is embossed in a way that it's circular, so that it looks like, you know, there are circular waves coming off of Alakazam. It's a very lovely card. A special ability, Painful Spoons. Once during your turn, you can move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another of their Pokemon. And then Mind Ruler, 20 times each card in your opponent's hand. So, Cobalion, 120, special ability, Justified Law. Your basic Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Steel Dark Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. And then follow-up does 30 damage. Choose up to 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a basic energy and attach it to that Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. You know, I'd be able to make an above-average Steel deck with everything that I've opened tonight. See, another Blue Energy. Matang does Bullet Punch for 30. Flip 2 coins. The attack does 30 damage plus the number of heads. Palisand. Sandpot Trap. This attack does 30 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Doesn't apply weakness or resistance for bench Pokemon. Land Crush does 120 damage. And then finally, Leafy Camo Poncho. This is the last trainer card. Whenever your opponent plays a supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to the Pokemon V-Star or Pokemon V-Max this card is attached to. So, once again, if you just have cards that terminate V-Max effects, you can use this equipment card on your VMAX Pokemon in order to prevent those attacks from happening. Pokemon TCG just has a tendency to all be about the deck. All about, you know, how does your deck work? How does it not work? Do you use V Pokemon in it? Do you use VMAX Pokemon in it? And if so, are you up against another deck that deflects every single attack based on either Max or VMAX? And then I'm only scraping the surface when it comes to overall strategy when it comes to this. But anyway, I digress. Thank you everybody once again for tuning in to another installment of Brainy the RPG Cat. I remain Brainy the RPG Cat. As usual, this stream is sponsored by whoops. I know I skipped one of those keys. We're partnered with GreatMedia.Games. We're partnered with GreatMedia.Games in order to bring you inexpensive TCG single cards. Visit GreatMedia.Games and use the code 10Finny at checkout for 10% off your online purchase. Cheers, Brainy. Happy post-Christmas. May you recover swiftly. Yeah, I'm more than certain I'm going to be over this in a couple of days. For the medicine that I just took, I think I'm actually just already beginning to feel it on my brow that I'm starting to recover. This stream is also brought to you by our donation campaign supporting Children's Hospital Colorado through Extra Life. Please follow our link in the chat. Give as much as your give as much as your finances will allow. We're going to be keeping the links open from now until December 31st. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you once again, everybody, for tuning in. I think I would like to take a moment in order to do a raid. Let's see. Who might be on tonight? I realize I just left the webcam on to where I'm manipulating the mouse, so there's your added value for you. You just get to see my mage hand manipulating the mouse, try to see who we're going to visit. They might be good. Right now, Hoff GMG, who is the CEO of GreatMedia.Games, he's on right now, and he is playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. It's more than likely he is playing duels with randoms in order to prepare for tomorrow night's game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Chaos with Rocky Mountain Pro and GreatMedia.Games. So let's go ahead and let's go pay him a visit. Alright. So, yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Chaos tournament. Should be a very good one. I built an all-water deck for it, but, a little bit more to come tomorrow night when we actually play that. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and have a good night, everybody, and thank you very much for watching.